Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Working Dragon Mystic. I'm Drake, and this is the Magical Coffee Hour. We're going to get in here tonight. We're going to have some questions from the viewers. And I'm going to try and answer them as best I can. Hope you all are doing great. Hope you guys are having a great week. We're going to be talking a little bit about the 6-month challenge. But before we do that, you'll notice that Immortal has already posted some links to the Working Dragon Mystic community stuff. We got some news on that, but those links are good. You can find the Working Dragon Mystic community at Locals and this online school. And of course, we are live on YouTube and Rumble. Deciding on which platform you prefer to use. First thing. We are actually right now in the midst of working on something, and it's really, really big, and it's something I'm excited about. Many of you have noticed that we started just trying to post a few videos here and there. That's what the channel was. However, over the years, this has really grown into a community, a place where we really work and help each other. And I've gotten constant questions in the last 2 years to try and improve the community, right? We had a Discord server, it got deleted with no response. We had a Guilded, it got deleted with no reason or response. We went over to Locals, but Locals doesn't give us the ability to engage with all members as we would like. It's a little limited on tools, but they've been really, really good to us, not knocking them at all. So we had to set up a very bare bones Discord that we could set up really quick if it got deleted, because let's be honest, it got deleted before with no explanation. So, plan accordingly, right? And hands down, over the years, people's like, you've built a great community. I can't take credit for it, guys. I didn't even know it happened. The community, it kind of gathered up around Working Dragon Mystic, and to that I am proud. But I am tickled to death of this community all the same, because I get to see every day how you all reach out and help one another, whether it be over at Locals, whether it's at the online school, whether it's on the Locals Discord that we currently have. And that's been really at the forefront of my mind, okay? No matter how hard last year was, all the things that I was going through, watching this community band together and help one another, that was always definitely a shining light for me. So I have been sitting down talking with the admin, and we have been doing a lot of work on sinking a lot of hours into something and discussing it. And we have decided we are going to take the risk and we're going to try it. And that is, so I'm hoping next Sunday this will be official, okay? I'm hoping I can get it as soon as next Sunday. But we are working to get the online school and the community, live chats, discussion chats, the 6-month challenges, everything. Instead of needing a wall of links, we're going to be in one place, just one place. We're going to have full control, customization of the community. We are going to come to one site, one place, one location where we can offer the courses, where we can have our supporters there. And we're wanting to expand what the supporters will have access to. One of the things I'm hoping I will be able to finagle, don't know if I will or not be able to, but I'm trying. So if you are a supporter or thinking about supporting us, I am actually trying to finagle it so that some of the classes at the online school will be available to all supporters of the channel. So if you are a paid supporter, some of the classes will be part of that. Of course, workshops, supporters, you will continue to get access to workshops as you always do. The live chat workshops, those kinds of things. So we are trying to really take this community and do exactly what you guys have been asking me to do for 2 years that I've not been able to do. I am wanting to take this community and really take it to the next level, but one site, get it on one site where we have total control. I don't have to worry about them deleting the chat log. I don't have to worry about this or that. And it's a risk, because to do this, you can't use a free site. Locals is free. But I honestly, truly believe in this community. I do. And I've been told I shouldn't risk this. I have been told that by people, because with YouTube monetizations and everything going down just because the economy the way it is, they're like, it's a risky move. You know, you're not really at that safety point. And truth be told, I do what I do because I like doing it and I like helping people. Okay. I actually do like helping you all. And I think, I truly believe, and this is through divinations and everything, I do think at the bare minimum, worst case scenario, Working Dragon Mystic can break even, which means it's not out of my pocket and I can continue doing. I can't pay for Working Dragon Mystic out of my own pocket. I wish I could, but I can't. So I think we can do this. And that is the exact risk we're taking. And this week, I have already blocked off a super large chunk. I am going to dive in and start putting the pieces together to get it ready to launch. And I'm hoping to be able to tell you all, here's the new site, here's the link, come on over and join us. Now, with that said, if you're at locals, some of you at locals have paid, you've bought more than 1 month of support if you're a supporter over there. I will find a way to make sure you get what you get. We will continue to post everything at locals. That way you guys can still, you know, partake, because I don't want you guys getting shortchanged, because you guys have supported us. And honestly, I really couldn't be doing this and even considering expanding the community without you. So if you aren't a monthly supporter, if you paid for multiple months in advance, don't worry. Just message me directly. Let me know who you are. I will make sure we get it set up one way or the other. And we'll just have to, worst case scenario, I just have to post everything at locals for you the same way we will at the new location for a year. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? That's the general gist of it. We will make this transition happen. We're not going to lose anything. We're only going to be gaining things. All right. So that's that. And I'm super excited about it. Now, on to the 6-month challenge. So, the 6-month challenge, probably one of the more popular events we do here. And I've actually been asked if we would consider doing some kind of reward challenge monthly or bi-monthly or something. Honestly, it's not a bad idea. I kind of like it, guys. Not going to lie. Reward. Do know what to do as rewards. Me and Jade and Born and Immortal, we've been talking. Immortal's been talking about pendants and wands. We've talked about challenge coins, all kinds of really cool things we could do that are very limited or one-of-a-kind things as rewards for challenges, or even potentially doing a run of coins. But if we do those, we'd have to be able to pay for them. So, maybe if you want to join a particular challenge, whether it's a divinations challenge or whatever, if it's a 1-month challenge, the new community might be able to let us set that up. So if you want to join in and participate, we could do a small fee to cover the rewards and stuff like that. So we're going to consider, we are taking that under advisement because it would be a cool idea. And I was a little iffy, but one of my supporters I was chatting with actually said that a small fee actually is kind of a good thing, because they themselves and a lot of their friends, like if they put a $5 bill down on something, they feel more motivated for the month because there's actually some skin in the game. Whereas if it's a free thing, they just wave it off and forget about it. And I was like, well, I can see your point there. So it's something we're considering, we're thinking about, we're pondering through it and seeing how we can do it. But yeah, it's going to be a really cool thing. Now, the 6-month challenge. For me, I am on track. So a few things that I have that are on my thing is to be focusing more on practical magic in my life. I've been doing that actually at least 2 or 3 days a week right now. I've had a goal to increase activity, get moving more. Where I've been doing Working Dragon Mystic, honestly and truly, I don't move around and move as much as I used to when I had a job that was a bit more physical labor. Okay. When I was younger, I worked physical labor jobs. That's just kind of how I done it. And I was always moving. So I'm trying to get in a routine of working out, moving more, getting more active, doing things. And so far, I am on track. I'm definitely on track with that. I am seeing results. So yeah, pretty much my goals are definitely moving in the correct direction. I've also noticed that a few people over on the community, they're already posting results too, and seeing progress. Now think about that, people. Everyone who's participating actively, publicly in this challenge, that I know of that's posted seems to be showing actual results petering into their life. This is a 6-month challenge. Folks, we're not at the end of 1 month. I don't think we're not even halfway through a month. We're almost halfway, but not quite there yet. And that's one of the things I love about this community. Think about it. If you can start to see the results in just 12 days, and you're committed through 6 months of this, just imagine how much that 6 month can actually create a change, even if you're just working on something small. Some people's working on books, some people's working on their magical practice, some people's working on health, some people's working on finances. It's amazing to see how everyone's trying to work in some area of their life to improve and actually seeing it done. So congratulations, everyone. Let's see what we got in the comments. Eden, I love this community. I do too, mate. I absolutely do. It's really cool. Matthias, hey, no problem. Better late than never, mate. And you're not that late. I've only been yapping on for 11 minutes. Let's see. Context, Matthias, unifying the community stuff to one side. Yep. Thanks for contexting that for me, Eden. More on the update we saw from Jade guessing. Yes, Jade was not kind enough to post a quick update to the locals community. I mentioned something, I think, a week ago to supporters, hinting at what we were doing. So yeah, we've been working on it. It's exciting. Granted, like I said, it's a little risky, so there's definitely that little fear factor kicking in, but I kind of love that adrenaline myself. So hopefully the other admin can ride the wave and enjoy it instead of stressing and losing their hair. I ain't got no hair to worry about, so I shave my head, so that comes in handy. Seed, good to see you, mate. Good to see you. Let's see what we got. Doing the week 2 spell working tonight too. Awesome. Keep it up. Losing my hair by the day. Mortal. Weirdly, I actually don't know if I've lost my hair. Like many of you saw the channel, I had a head full of hair and I just randomly went and shaved it one day. I got bored. I got tired of dealing with it. I have always had a head full of hair. That being said, as it's been coming, like if I go too long without shaving it and it's coming through, I am starting to wonder if I did let it grow, if it's not thinning a little around here. But I don't know because I've never actually let it grow back out. I don't know that I want to either because I really don't like dealing with it. It's so easy. It's so much easier to deal with. I got so much other things to do. I'm lazy. I really am. I'm just lazy. Let's see. I wish my hair would do that. Go back to pink hair. No. Who told you I had pink? Yeah, I might have said it. Yeah. There is one time, for those who don't know, my wife, being military, she was wanting to do like temporary hair color for Halloween. And it's one of those things where, you put it in, you wash it out. Well, I've known plenty of people who's put it in and it didn't wash out the way they said it would. And in the military, you can't do that. Okay. You can't do that. So I've always had some gray in my hair, even when it was long, like right through here on the sides. I've always had some gray. And gray is a great way to find out if it's going to wash out. Because if it'll wash out of gray, it'll wash out of anything, right? So we put that in to my hair, and it was this deep, beautiful crimson red. It was really gorgeous color she picked. And we brushed that in, and man, it looked sharp. It did. It looked sharp. I was liking it. That next morning, though, I woke up, I took a shower, and it did not wash out. It turned pink, full-blown pink, and it stayed there for a good 5 or 6 days, easy. And the crappiest part about it was, and this is actually one of my favorite parts, we had to update our military IDs. So, my whole thing is it's peak. I wear a hat, and you can see where my hat sits. You're not going to see those gray sides, right? You're not going to see it. And we're sitting there getting ready, and they're like, all right, step up. I stepped up, and she's like, you need to take your hat off. I was like, are you sure? She's like, yes, you have to take your hat off. I was like, okay. Off comes my hat. She looks up, and she's like, oh, I understand. Luckily, that particular year, my picture was black and white. Now they got the high def color photos. Dear God, I'm glad they didn't have those then. Oh. Although I may not have hair here, but my wife pointed out my goatee's got lots of gray in it. So if she ever needs to test hair colors, we still got that we can do. Just brush it right on in there. A couple Christmases back, y'all remember I had my Christmas hat and I did a green goatee happening. That actually stayed for a little while. A few of you swore you could see it for a few days after, or at least a week after, I think it was. But I didn't mind that. All right. Anybody got any questions other than pink hair? Or do you want to know stupid things that I've done in my life? Oh, if you are here and you enjoy the content, like our Tuesday videos, our live streams, and you're interested in the community, hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications, and give us a thumbs up. We would always appreciate that. See, Claw over on Rumble says, Drake, candle magic related question. What color candle would you use for a ritual to draw more clients to your business? Green / or black? And what oil or herbs? Thanks. Okay. So I'm pretty simple and basic when it comes to candle magic these days. Half the times I reach for a white candle because it's an all-purpose candle. They're easy to find anywhere. That being said, that's kind of a cop-out answer also. So when I do use colors, if let's say I can find them or I'm just on a wild hair and I want to, honestly, I'm going to reach for candle for drawing in prosperity or things to my business. Black is also a really good color because it does actually do a really good job of drawing things to you. But green has always been my go-to. It has, point blank. For herbs, I love bay leaf for prosperity. I absolutely love bay leaf. And as an individual who learned to cook in Cajun country, I've always got bay leaves in my kitchen. Always. In fact, I say the saddest thing about carnivore eating is I can't have gumbo. I've tinkered with a few carnivore gumbo recipes, and I've got them Cajun Bayou approved, but they're still missing something in my brain. Even though I know several Cajuns that can't tell the difference now, so I'll take that as a compliment. But yeah, that would be definitely the herb I would go to is bay leaf. Oil, I love dragon's blood oil. Even before I found Dragon Magic, I absolutely fell in love with dragon's blood oil because it just empowers magic as a whole. So having just a single oil that I can keep and use that's going to empower whatever spell working, whether it's sigil magic, candle magic that I'm doing, was always kind of my go-to, and I absolutely loved it. There's actually been a time or two where I've even taken dragon blood resin. If you buy the resin incense that you can burn on charcoals, I would powder that up. And after I take the candle and coat the candle in the oil, I would then roll it in the dragon's blood resin as well to give it that extra oomph. And it made a really amazing smelling burn when it went through. And it's actually interesting you mentioned candle magic, because one of the practical magic videos I got coming is actually dealing with a very specific style of candle and ways that not only is it practical to have in your house for other reasons, but it's a great way to make homemade custom spell candles dirt cheap, very effective. and actually be able to imbue them at a level that honestly most candles you just cannot imbue. So that's coming up in the near future as well. Great question, Claw. See, Eden Widow's Peak lends to the occult vibe by the way it grows from your earlier videos. I don't know how else. Nope, you're right. You're right. I did have that like natural whole little widow's peak going in. I definitely had my dad's hairline, and my dad's hairline, like he had that widow's peak for a very long time. Huge head full of hair. Though in his later years and as he got near 50, like it all ran back. He did have like a little tuft here, but it is basically bald through here. And I guess that's one of the reasons that I just kind of assume if I was to let it grow out that it's all thinned out, because I'm willing to bet if I grew it out, I got my dad's hairline entirely by this point. Because what am I, 42, 43, 44-ish? I'm somewhere in there. My wife will remind me when I get off stream, I'm sure. But so yeah, I'm probably going to catch up with him in there. But I don't mind it. I've never minded it. It's one of those things. Guys, if your hair is thinning, don't worry about it. Embrace it. You don't have to shave your head. You can. My dad didn't ever shave his head. He wore his hair. He wore it well. And he had that charismatic personality. He had no problems, ever. I get my charisma from him. I really do, hands down. Kenny, Wisdom Gray. Yeah, I've always loved my gray. I did. Like, I love the salt and pepper. Like, there were so many people who, like, told me that, like, you should get this Just for Men stuff. Like, of course, I'm at the age where Just for Men was just coming out, right? And everybody's telling me about it. And I was like, I don't give a shit my hair is gray. I really don't. And I don't know. I guess people get self-conscious. I've never had that issue. It's just one of those things. And my wife will attest that I've never had any shortage of ladies who liked my hair. So, all right. Any questions? Any occult questions? Let's see. Saeed, I have horrible visitation skills. My question is, can I give a servitor a physical body made from Play-Doh or something along those lines? Like, are you asking, can you give it a physical body to move around in the real world? Because if that's the answer, if that's the question, the answer is no. Can you I always, in my servitor videos, I say create an anchor, right? And your anchor can be anything you want it to be, but your anchor needs to be something that's actually going to last and survive. So I really wouldn't do Play-Doh because it can get squished pretty easily. But you could use anything. Like, you could even draw a picture of what you want it to look like, and that piece of paper becomes your anchor. I think in one of my videos, I discussed that most of my anchors are actually paper or wood, because I keep my servitors in a notebook that I can easily, the kill commands and everything are in that notebook, and each page of that notebook is an individual anchor for the servitor, allows me to keep it organized easily, and gives me a place to put the sigils, and it's just easy organization. I know that obviously the notebook method don't work for a lot of people. I know a lot of people who will buy stuffed animals. They'll buy statuettes. They'll buy figurines. I actually know one individual who uses dice as their servitor anchors. So I've seen all kinds of different things used. If you're going to do a sculpture, I would do it out of something more durable, or something that can actually be dried, whether it be self-drying clay, like modeling clay or something that can go in the oven to be dried. if you want to go that direction. So yes, you could use it as an anchor, but it's not going to get up and do chores, which from your questions usually say, I think you already know that. So I'm pretty sure you're talking about just the visual aspect of the visual anchor concept. Um, but you could do that. There's nothing wrong because you need an anchor anyway. You really do need that anchor. If you don't have the anchor to imbue and focus on, then yeah, they tend not to hold together well at all. Good question. Good question. Let's see, Claw, thanks, Drake. We'll try the herb/oil combo. Let me know how it goes, Claw. Seriously, let me know. And keep your eyes out for that video. I actually got to go get some supplies and to make the video. Otherwise, I'd probably be shooting it this week. But I got to get out to the store and get the supplies first. Could I recommend any good reference for books and oils? Honestly, I use the internet most of the time because most of the books just rehash the same thing. For herbs, honestly, I've always liked Scott Cunningham. His book on herbs was actually one of my favorite going through. I really enjoyed it. I know it's old school as hell, but I really enjoyed his book on herbs. But do remember that any association to anything is what we place on it. So the best herb, the best oil to utilize for any spell working is one that makes sense to you. So honestly, Claw, if you think of what herb would be safe to burn, don't go be burning something that's not safe to burn, because when you put it on a candle, it's going to burn. What says prosperity most to you, right? That would actually have the best effect overall for you. Same thing with essential oils, because your association to it matters more than what any book out there says. Any book. Those are a collection of things that either a coven, a group got together and agreed upon, or multiple groups got it together and on an average they agreed upon. But magically speaking, the association you assign to it's going to be the best. But I would, of books, I like Cunningham's. I don't even know if I still have my copy of his book now that I think about it. I'm not seeing it from here. I probably do. It's probably somewhere. I don't think I would have got rid of that one. Let's see. See, I'm going to mention. See, Matthias using something like that as a representation and anchor. Yep. See, I'm having one of those days where I want to ask questions, but my brain lacks the words for it. Hey, those days happen. They really do. Yeah. Oh, Cunningham did put out some good stuff. He really did. Like, there is a movement against a lot of some of the older practitioners and whatnot, and some for better reasons than others. But doesn't mean that the wisdoms that they pinned or put out there doesn't still serve a purpose, right? Because honestly, when you're starting out, even when I say, what herb makes the most sense to you, right? I know a lot of people who don't know squat about herbs. They really do not. So they wouldn't even know where to begin. And yes, the internet is a free resource. You got to love that. But at the same time, having a book that's focused on herbs, which I think it's like his Encyclopedia of Herbs is what it was called or something. It's a great starting point to start playing around with things in your practice. And those books have survived and stayed around and been reprinted for so long because they are actually decent books. They really are. And giving that starting point, then you can work into and think about, what does each herb mean for you? And you can start pinning those notes into your personal grimoire, your personal journals and stuff like that. And that's how your personal practice develops. So I'm not against buying them. It's just, I also know money's tight these days for everybody. So yeah, like I think I actually have There's a Book of Shadows by the lady who wrote To Ride a Silver Broomstick or something like that. I actually have that. It was a gift. I still got it because there's a lot of information crammed in there. A lot of it I don't disagree. I agree with. Some of it I disagree with, but there's still a lot of information. And I've just never brought myself to get rid of it yet. And that's one of the things when it comes to occult books, too. You got to realize that a practitioner or a magician is going to pin what has worked for them, and they're going to pin their viewpoints down, right? And you can read through it. You can agree with it. You can disagree with it. But what makes a good occult book in my mind is a book that I can sit down, I can read, it's applicable. It can be applied to life. It can be applied today. And the book has to really, in my mind, it has to stand alone function, right? If you need 12 books for the first book to work, horse shit. Walk away. Don't buy it. But there's a lot of ideals and traditions out there that I absolutely love. One of the books I fell in love with, I absolutely fell in love with, was Nocturnal Witchcraft. It was a completely new take on witchcraft that I found back in the day. And I actually picked it up originally because I was basically living a third shift life at that time. And try as I might, there was just no getting off first shift for me personally. So I picked it up to take a look at it and was like, well, I'm living nocturnal. Let's take a gander at this because, well, at that time I was still on the witchcraft Wicca side of everything. So everything was, sunshine and fields and fire festivals and get out in nature. And I worked third shift, people. So I got to reading through it. And there was a lot of really cool things that I'd never heard about in there. And my first thing there was either A, this is a bunch of edgy, goofy shit, or he could be onto something. And I actually started to apply the lessons he laid out there, right? I was like, let's try it. Let's see what happens. And I got some really amazing results with that book. I absolutely loved it. Now, some of the rituals got a little wonky. Some of the way he wrote and would jump around, wasn't super fan of. But at the same time, like it gave me a basis to build on too. And for a long time, I was tinkering around with that book. I actually may pull some of my older rituals that I was tinkering around with from that book and go over some of those at some point. Yeah, I'm actually getting rid of most of my books at this point. Like most of the books that I have found, they always just the same book reworded. So I'm essentially going through finding the ones that are worded in a way that I like and I vibe with. God damn it, kids, you got me saying vibe now. Oh God. Anyway, and I'm keeping those while the ones that the wording, phrasing, or whatnot is more of a headache to try and sort through. Those are the ones I'm sorting out. And what makes sense to me, what's easy for me to read, won't be what's easy for you to read. Let's see. Let's see. See, what is this? Aylin, I'm not sure how much Drake knows about her, but she's one of the most knowledgeable occultists I've run across. Josephine and Drake are literally the two people I link everyone to because I know their stuff. Well, thank you. I know a few Josephines. Let's see. Matthias Drake, was it Nocturnal Witchcraft by Constant? Yes, that's the guy. That is the guy. He has a follow-up book to it too that was pretty interesting. Yeah, I actually really did enjoy it. Let's see. I pretty much stopped using books so much as well. It really is. You get to the point, right? And I truly believe this. And this is actually something the dragons taught me point blank. And if any of you have taken the Dragon Magic 101 course or 102, you actually see it being laid out. Or check out the video on the Draconic Pillars, right? Dragons lay out that concept of meditation, then the 3 pillars of invocation, evocation, divinations, and journey work and spirit work, right? And ultimately, if a magician can get a working understanding of those things, you don't need a book no more. You really don't. And I would even go as far as to say you probably wouldn't need a book before then, depending on what your practice was. Because I know a lot of people who are in candle magic or sigil magic or even gree magic. And that's all they do. And they have a very, very successful magical career. And they don't even need to worry about those other things. But getting to that point where you're doing the thinking, you're doing the experiments, you're applying it, you're finding what works for you, and you're following your gut, you're following the entities you're working with, you're following perhaps even the spirits of nature. Maybe you're just listening to the spirits of nature. It doesn't matter. Wherever your insight and motivation is coming from, it's producing practical results. It's producing the results you want. That's it. You're done. Keep working toward mastery of that. A lot of people, there's this ideal that you need rare, expensive books, right? You need absolutely rare, expensive books. You do not. You absolutely do not. I actually do know a book collector. I have seen occult books that run in the thousands, and I've been blessed to be able to read through them. And I can tell you, none of them contains anything that's not in a cheap book that you can find anywhere on Amazon. There really isn't. The only exception to that statement is personal opinion, right? If a mage publishes their personal opinion or their personal workings, path working that they did from their point of view, then you're getting their point of view. You're not getting any access to any real secret. You're just getting their point of view, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just you got to decide, is buying a point of view worth reading, right? And that honestly depends. Like, I'm not going to pay $80 for a book. I'm really not. My mom's a book collector. She has a lot of amazing leather-bound literary books and stuff. But she collects, like Moby Dick and, like actual novels. But yeah, for those like me, I'm not going to do it. Like, even my favorite book series, I'm not going to pay that. So, it is what it is. And we all got to figure our own out, because even once you make, like, when we're poor, yeah, you got to do what you can do, right? Understand that. I've been poor most of my life. Once you start making some money, and once you start getting comfortable in life, and you got the ability to help neighbors, and you got some excess, you can do some funner things, then you got to decide what you do with that money, right? What do you want to do? Because you may want to buy expensive rare books, and that's cool. That's cool. That's what you want to do. There's people who want to buy Pokemon cards and Magic the Gathering cards, right? There's people who buy vintage arcade machines. My splurge money usually goes to camping gear or tinkering with mead recipes. That's usually where my money goes. And obviously those are hobbies that, once you have camping gear, you kind of have it unless it breaks. And since I try to buy quality, it lasts. That means most of my money goes to investments anymore, because my hobbies don't require a lot of money. I'm a cheapskate. If y'all didn't know that, I'm a cheapskate. Uncle Scrooge thinks I'm a cheapskate. Let's see. I love how this book is one first mix. I actually do. I've checked out a time or two to see if he had any more. He had an interesting take on evocation too. He actually kind of took the psychological view and starts straddling the spiritual view. I think that's why I liked him, because I started off on that psychological side. And I'm talking about Konstantinos, if you're wondering. And then, like, he was, he definitely helped me understand those two concepts really well. YouTube's listening to us and showed you a commercial for hair loss. I freaking love it. Oh. And meditation is so vital. I do have a question though, which is, if you've heard of people getting weird symptoms as a result of ears begin ringing on and off more frequently and a few more symptoms. I actually have heard of this. And it's not actually anything weird, spiritual, or anything. It's oxygen. So when you're meditating, your ear canals and your blood flow affect your little eardrums, right? And I'm one of those people, I can't think of the name of the condition, but my ears will ring on regular basis at random. It's slightly annoying. But when you meditate, whether you're doing meditations that increase the oxygen in your blood or meditations that decrease it, that alters the blood flow in your ears, and that can, until your body adapts to that natural rhythm, that sudden change, your ears can ring. It is something that happens. It doesn't happen to everybody, but it does happen, and it's because of the oxygen differential in the blood is actually causing that. It's really kind of cool. I actually sat down with a buddy who is a doctor, and I was like, "Are you shitting me?" And he's like, "No, I can show you." And we went in and like spent 2 or 3 days, me hooked up to a little monitor thing so he could show me, and it was just fascinating. I'm weirdly fascinated by weird shit like that. Like even my epilepsy, when they plug me into the EEG machine, to me it's not a hassle. I want to see the freaking paper, dude. It's like, come on. I'm just that way. But yes, it can create that ringing. It's not for everybody. It doesn't happen for everybody. Just like everybody doesn't have. I need to remember that condition's name. Where your ears ring, but it happens more for me when I'm in higher elevations. That's one thing I've noticed. So anytime actually, basically since my wife's been in the Navy, really, I don't get it as often because Navy, coastal, you know how that goes. Now, when I move back home to the mountains, how much you want to bet my ears will start ringing again? But it is what it is, It's nothing I can't live with. Hell, I learned to ignore my mom yelling at me. I can ignore a little ringing in my ear. My mom ain't happy about that either. Drake, are you listening to me? Oh, yeah. What'd you say? Quack. Right. It's not at times. Yeah, it can. Okay, so the ringing can still happen. It can even happen after. The blood flow and oxygen level changes from meditation can actually persist for hours after meditation. And it can actually be the rebalancing that triggers it. Okay? And if you live in densely forested areas or any kind of elevations you're not used to, that can also affect it. So there are a lot of little tiny things that can affect it. And don't get me wrong, I absolutely love my mom to death. I respect her. In fact, I am probably the child that is most like her. And that's why her and I growing up, like we would butt heads. But these days, like when I call her, like she has my sense of humor. It's weird to think about because my mom put on like this total mom face. Like she didn't let me see that she had my sense of humor growing up. And now that I know it, it's like, huh. Because so much makes sense. Oh, Lord. She gets a little spooked easier than me. Also, condition mentioned. Tendinitis. That's it. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. You guys look out for me when I forget words. Appreciate it. But yeah, I love my mom to death. I really do. She's a hoot. But she does, like, she gets spooked easy, right? Like, she loves that I'm successful with working Dragon Mystic. She actually does. She is proud of it. Like, if someone asks, what's your son Drake doing these days? She'll tell him, you know, he's doing this YouTube school thing. She don't fully understand it, but she'll also ask me questions about it because she wants to understand it. And I'll get to talking about it, and I'm talking about, you know, working with entities or talking about cryptids, and she's like, okay, that's enough. I'm gonna have nightmares. And even like it was like 2 weeks ago, sometime right before Christmas, I was talking to her about, you know, I was wanting to look into cryptids in the Appalachia because all those Appalachian stories, I've never looked at them through the lens of an occultist just because I grew up in those mountains. It was just life, right? And she was like, well, there is a lot of weird things that go on, and we're talking about it. And at the moment her brain went from Appalachian folklore to, wait, there could be something in the woods. Conversation over. So yeah, my mom's a hoot. I love her to death. And her sister, like, they're twins. And I remember their personalities are very, very different, but they're both just as stubborn. Whew. Let's see. All right. Anybody got any other questions? Let's see if I missed anything in here. But yes, meditation is actually vital, people. I know so many people put it on the boring little thing here. It is the foundation. Like, if we're not keeping up a meditation practice, everything else will crumble. It will fall. And I've seen that problem happen to the most experienced of magicians. And like, I didn't have meditation. You know, I've been a magician for 50 years. I figured I could go without it. The moment they start picking up a meditation practice again, everything starts working again. It is a vital part of a practice. Matthias, I do have an update. I think I may have a guardian dragon. Freaking awesome, Matthias. That is cool to hear. I want to say for your 6-month challenge, you actually are going to try and work through Dragon Magic 101 or get started on it, I think is what you posted. Or was it get ready for it? Either way, that is awesome to hear, mate. Absolutely awesome. Immortal. How many people get lost in the mountains? Lots of whistlers go missing, I take it. That is true. You're not supposed to whistle up in those mountains. That is an old saying. There's a lot of debate on why. There is a lot of debate on why. That might be a Rumble topic, or that might be a community topic we have to touch on a little bit there. But yes, there are a lot of people who go missing in those mountains. It is not advised to go wandering around into those mountains recklessly, foolishly, or just willy-nilly. It's like I was telling, I want to say I was born oldest earlier this week. Was it this week? It might have been this week. Like, I was raised at the point, like, if I was playing around in the woods and someone started shooting at me, and it kind of happened when I was like 8, I think I was 7 or 8. And we went running through the woods full sprint, me and my brother, like Robin Hood and Little John, just taking off. And even we cleared a fence. Like, we just full on straddled it like it was a hurdle in the Olympics. Just whoop, get the hell out of here. And we turned around long enough to see the blast was coming from up here on this hill. I can't use names, but we knew the individual. And we came out of the woods, and it was like, whoo, that was close. And we're giggling and laughing. And it wasn't weird to us. In fact, it was so not weird. We wandered up to my grandfather's house, and they're like, what have you boys been into? And we told him. We're like, well, we was down here. We was doing this. So fired some rounds at us. Didn't faze him. He's like, well, I told you boys to stay out of the woods. That was normal. That's just the level of normal. And the more you learn about Appalachian culture, it makes more sense. And the fact that should be weird didn't even set in on me until I was up in my 20s or more. Whereas Born Oldest is just like, the fact that you thought that was perfectly normal baffles me. It's like, that's Appalachian culture. Drew, thanks, Drake. I'm only a little worried I may have needed to get my senses a bit further first. You know what? Lean into it, Matthias. Go ahead and start working with the bonding with your dragon, guardian dragon. If you are working through the course, go ahead and start leaning into those practices. Do those exercises. Do the meditations. Do the spell workings with them. You will be surprised how quickly your senses begin to develop just by working with them. Seriously. Because you won't have to summon them. They're all, once you have a dragon, they're always with you. You can't get rid of little fuckers, even when they're annoying as shit. Well, yeah, you can piss them off, by treating them awful and stuff. But I don't foresee you as an individual being that kind of person. So, let's see. Let's see what we got here. Do I know something? I've worked with Jinn lots in the past. There's a few Jinn I've worked with that people refer to as Jinn masters. Then there's disagreements on whether they are or not. But Jinn are not a major area that I've worked with in a few years. So, I'm not sure I'd be the right magician for that. Like, I've worked with Jinn. I've enjoyed my experiences with them, and even the ones that are quote unquote supposed to be masters. But I don't know if I'm the right magician to cover that area. And I'll be honest with you, I don't have my journals nearby, and it has been a really long time since I've done it. The few Jinn that I still work with, I use standard evocation to work with them. And yes, I've been told that's a bad idea, but I've also never had anything happen for it. Of course, I've also been told working with the Goetia without threats and angels and all this is a bad thing. And again, nothing bad has ever happened. So, you got to go where you go with your practice. Are you getting the results, or are you going to follow specific dogmas? I'm not a dogma person. I don't knock people who follow the traditional Solomonic tradition. It's not for me. But I also don't really waste time arguing with them if they think I must. It's just kind of that thing. Where's my guardian dragon? Curled up over here by the light. So, like right now where my office is, I got two filming lights. Like right here, he's right down there. Currently sticking his tongue out at me. Sounds like a fun brother. Well, me and my brother, we tend to get along most of the time. Usually, we've had our spats. Believe me, we have had spats. We've been hospitalized for spats. But yeah. He can be a lot of fun. He can. My daddy swears I got the brains of the two of us. I personally think I got the looks of the two of us too. But yeah, he's a lot of fun. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I've noticed him playing with my dog for one. Oh, yeah, they love to play with pets. My guardian dragon used to chase my wife's cats around the house constantly. And I've actually told the wife, like, once we get some stuff pared down and we're kind of, getting rid of stuff, Once we get a certain amount cleared out, which I want to say there's some boxes that we got in one room over here. I just want those boxes gone. I want that space cleared, right? Officially out of the house. You can't just like move them to another room. My wife is tricky. You got to watch her. Like if I say I need this, I need all the boxes out of this room, she will just move them to another room because she's sneaky. She's tricksy. But I told her once that's all done, if she really wants, she can have another cat. At which point I already know, like, people's like, every time I say you can have another cat, people's like, you almost sound exhausted saying it. It's like, seriously, I know my guardian dragons are going to be playing with this cat and chasing this cat, knocking things over. It's going to be the same shenanigans again because cats, they grow up, they calm down. These guardian dragons don't calm down. They won't calm down in 12 lifetimes of a human. So I know they're not going to calm down in my lifetime. But we love them. And I mean, my guardian dragons even pick on my wife. So yeah. Oh yeah. There's I've often wondered actually if the way that my guardian and dragons and my co-magician interact with things around me, like animals and stuff, isn't one of the things I actually love about dragon magic. Because so many other practices that I do, it's like you go into the ritual area to do the spell work, and any other day it's just mundane shit, right? But dragons have taught me that living life is magical, and they're just there with me all the time. Whether I'm driving down the road or doing something so mundane as doing dishes, they're there reminding me of how awesome life is and how magical it is. And part of me wonders if my real love of dragon magic comes from the fact that they're just there. And they're not taking things too seriously. And maybe it is. I don't know. But I know I absolutely adore it. And God help if I ever actually do give me a dog. Like this right now, with us military moving all the time, I don't want to get a dog because it's a pain in the ass to move and travel with a dog and stuff like that. But I've always wanted to have a dog. And I mean, I've had dogs when I was younger, but it's been a really long time since I had a dog. And if I get a dog, I know full blown that dog is going to be spoiled as hell. And even the dragons are going to help spoil that dog. And it's going to be interesting, will be a good word for it. I didn't see my dragon, but my dog turned. Yeah, that'll happen. That will happen. See, Eden the cat in our house is very magic. Cat approaches whenever we are doing any magic. That's basically cats. Like I've never seen a cat that isn't drawn to magical work. Dogs are very perceptive of it, but they're just kind of like, yeah. The cats are very drawn to. I've never seen a cat that's not. In fact, our cats is one of the reasons I started having a ritual room because they wouldn't leave me the hell alone when I was doing something. And it like I could sit in the floor, I could do whatever I'm wanting. Like I could play with string, I could play with wrapping paper. They wouldn't bother me. The moment I start doing anything to deal with the occult, there they were. And it's my friends' cats, it's just the same thing. Every freaking cat. Whereas my wife, on the other hand, they just wouldn't leave her alone. She could sit down and do anything. There's on top of her. So I personally just think cats and dogs and animals in general are already openly in attuned to that. It's not a matter of this animal's magical or this animal. It's just like they're already on. They're on there. They got to figure it out. That can happen. Dogs can feel those energetic shifts and stuff. What a lot of my friends do is actually bring the dog next to them and pets them while they do the meditations. That way the dog actually knows it's part of the process. Because I got a friend, she has a blue tick hound and a red bone hound. Very well trained dogs, but For a while there, like anytime she was doing any magical work, they would show signs. They were worried because they could hear her heart rate and everything shifting and changing. And they know that this could be a sign of something wrong. So, so she actually had to bring them in and actually start doing workings. And so they understood this was actually supposed to happen. It's not a problem, and those kinds of things. That's the reason dogs can be trained to like sense seizures, right? Like they can sense a seizure before it happens, and they can actually get the person, they know how to get the person to lay down and do what they need to do. They can warn the person before the seizure hits in so the person can protect themselves, which is a really cool thing. My epilepsy, I don't think qualifies to actually have a seizure dog, but that'd be pretty freaking cool. Not gonna lie. Oh yeah, young. Well, when they're puppies is the best time to train them. Don't wait for them to get older. Just make them part of it. Just bring them in. One thing that I was told when it comes to dogs by every dog person I know is, train them young. Train them young. Yes, they're going to have energy. Yes, they're going to be hyper. If you have a high energy dog, you better be a high energy dog owner. You can't expect the dog to go against its instincts and its basic energy. So getting them involved and training them who you are, and it's really going to connect. It really does help. It really does. Da, 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 da. And there's the clocks. All right, everybody, this has been a lot of fun. If you guys enjoyed hearing random stories of me, but we did get a few occult questions in there, and that was a lot of fun. Hopefully next week, everyone, I will be able to actually say, hey, the new community's live. Here it is. Come find us. That's my goal this week. I have a goal. I got to get another video uploaded for next Tuesday, and I got to make sure that is up and going. I have oh my God, this week's busy. I got I think 4 to 6 videos I actually have to record this week. Oh dear God, plus that. Yeah, I'm going to be a crazy wizard. I'm going to be so worn out. My beard's just going to go into a poof ball. You know what I mean? So wish me luck, everyone. Until next time, have a great week, everybody. Keep on doing what you're doing. And if you're taking part in the 6-month challenge, keep working toward those goals. All right. And make sure you're updating over at the 6-month challenge log. We'd love to hear from you, and let us know if you have any questions. Even if it's just your updates, plenty of people have popped in and said, have you tried this? And it works out pretty cool. So there we go. All right, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.